Dolphins fans, this video might be the quickest training camp battle video that we do all offseason because at the position of quarterback, you know it, I know it, there is really only one battle that's an actual battle, and that's Skylar Thompson versus Mike White. As quarterback one, Tua Tagovailoa's backup, we're going to talk a little bit more about Tua. We'll talk about that competition for that backup role. But before I start, your job, your duty in the comments, who do you have winning that quarterback two role? Are you going with the guy that's been here for a year in Skylar Thompson? Are you going to go with the guy that the Dolphins signed as the free agent earlier this offseason in Mike White? Let's jump into this as we've been doing it. We'll pull up the graphic. And like I said, projected starter Tua Tagovailoa. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts. The only question mark at this point in time for my money is the health. And I know that's not even a fair thing. We're playing football. Every single person's health that is on the 53-man roster, that's on the practice squad, everyone's health is at risk. Every practice, every preseason game, every regular season game. Football is a violent sport. I'm not breaking news there. However, you've got Tua who's had ribs, he's had fingers, he's had ankles, he's had concussions. It's out there. Tua has not proven yet that he can stay healthy for a full season. So that is first and foremost the biggest thing that we need from the quarterback position this year, because we saw it, and man, did we feel it last year. We'll talk about it more as we talk a little bit about Skylar Thompson. We think about this offense, and a lot of people that are kind of anti-Tua say, it's Mike McDaniel, it's the timing-based offense. Put anyone in there with Jalen Waddle, with Tyreek Hill, we can make it work. Did you watch last year? The proof was in the pudding. When Tua was in for the bulk of the time, the offense was the best offense that a whole entire generation of Miami Dolphins fans have seen. And keep in mind, that's year one of Mike McDaniel being a head coach play caller, year one of Tua Tagovailoa being in yet another new offense. So keep in mind that this potential, we're just scratching what we could potentially do here. But what happened when Tua was out? Well, let's go to that next graphic, because we're going to talk a little bit about Skylar Thompson here, because while Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson, they had their moments, you can't deny the fact that the offense just wasn't the same. They're not the same type of quarterbacks as Tua. The offense wasn't built for them, so I will give you that. But just in general, it wasn't clean. It was not a clean offense. Every single thing was like the Dolphins' offenses of the past, where it was hard to get 7-8 yards. It was hard to keep a clean pocket. With Tua, we were converting 3rd and 12s and 3rd and 15s like it was like a 1st and 3. We were so flush on offense for a nice span of weeks there. But when we had to go into the backups, when we had to go to Teddy, when we had to go to Skylar, and like I said, there were some moments. Yes, it did happen. But at the end of the day, Skylar Thompson appeared in 7 games. He accounted for 1 touchdown while throwing 3 interceptions. Now, keep in mind just how cursed this franchise is as well. For the 2nd straight time that the Miami Dolphins made the playoffs, couldn't even play with our starting quarterback. If you look back to, I forgot what year it was now, I should have jotted down, when Ryan Tannehill had to miss, we had to trot out Matt Moore against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, here we were last year. We get the wild card berth against the Bills. We can't play Tua. We can't play Teddy. We're on to quarterback 3, a 7th-round guy that for a lot of our fans, how did we even draft this guy? Just crazy. And we all know what he did in preseason, but preseason is watered-down football. It got real when it came time for him to step in and actually start and lead this team. He looked like a 7th-round rookie at times, which is to be expected. But here's the deal, because now who enters the conversation? Well, it's the name on the top of the list there. It's Mike White, who's also had his moments with the Jets. But at the end of the day, he's still a young guy with very limited experience. Entering his 3rd season, signed the 2-year deal worth up to $16 million throughout his career with the Jets. We know it fairly well. We're in the same division as the Jets. We follow them. 8 games played, 9 touchdowns accounted for, 12 interceptions. We didn't bring in a top-tier backup quarterback like a lot of us were hoping for. It's like, what do we need this offseason? Well, let's bolster the offensive line. And in case Tua gets hurt again, let's get a quarterback that fits this system. Let's get a guy that we can bank on if we need to use him for an extended period of time. For my money, I was hoping for a guy like Gardner Minshew, Taylor Heineke, pay up maybe a little bit to just kind of protect your investment. We didn't end up doing that. We paid Mike White a little bit, obviously, because you pay for the quarterback, the position of quarterback is what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, we didn't get one of those stud guys. We didn't get one of those top tier fallback guys. We can trust this guy with our franchise if Tua goes down. And that's why we're in the situation we're in right now. That's why Skylar Thompson is in a training camp battle with a guy like Mike White. And that's where this whole position kind of centers for you when you look at depth at the position this year. That's what it's going to come down to. It's who ends up getting the nod at quarterback too. Because if you look at OTAs, minicamp, both of these guys have kind of had their moments here or there. But from the reports that have been out there, Skylar Thompson has looked a bit more of the backup quarterback part than Mike White. And if you just look at the contracts and bringing in a guy like Mike White and the overall experience, you would think that it would be Mike White's job. Well, at this point in time, that's not necessarily the case. But the one thing is, we're starting to see more teams do this now. Teams are keeping 3 quarterbacks because of the fact that that's the whole I should have refreshed myself on the rule, but it's basically the game day rosters, how you can keep all 3 of those quarterbacks active now. And we're seeing it with the new concussion rules, with the protocols, with being taken out of the game by the independent spotter. You're needing more quarterbacks. So I don't think either of these guys' roster spots are necessarily in jeopardy, but it's who's going to end up being that clear-cut quarterback to when the season starts, if something were to happen to Tua Tagovailoa. Now, there is one other name that we should mention. That's James Blackmon. He was an undrafted free agent. He was invited to camp. He is on the roster right now. He will be at camp. However, I'm not breaking news here on this one either. He's not really in that competition for backup quarterback role. The team will say he is, and that's the kind of snaps that he's going to get. At the end of the day, though, that is a camp arm that we're going to end up getting out of James Blackmon. So we won't talk too much about that. Like I said, this is going to be one of the more quick, efficient off-season training camp battle videos that we do here, just because that main battle is coming down to Mike White, Skylar Thompson. But like I said, who do you got? Who is your horse in that race? Go ahead, drop your nomination in the comment section. Let's carry on the conversation there. But that is what I have got for quarterback Dolphins fans. Until next time, fins up.